Hello, and thanks for joining us on this special program dubbed Inclusivity for Women and Girls. My name is Juliet Mutale. Now, today, to give us more information about including women and girls as we head towards the commemoration of the International Women's Day, is Madam Maureen Nenechi, who is a leadership strategist, financial resilience coach, and also an entrepreneur. Madam Nenechi, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Juliet. I'm so glad to be here.
Great. Now, on the 8th of March, we will be commemorating International Women's Day. And the theme itself, how are you interpreting the theme for this year? Because the theme is rights, justice, action for all women and girls. How are you interpreting the theme?
Well, I just love the theme because I feel that the theme itself is a call for us to move from celebration. We've been celebrating, women's rights and all that. But I think it's a call for us to now move from celebration to implementation. So when we talk about implementation itself, for me, I'm looking at access, opportunity, protection, and the voice. We want the voice of women and girls to be heard, just as the voice of the male folk, and the young boys are heard. So, yeah, that's how I'm kind of interpreting this theme. It's a call for us to act. We need to arise. We need to occupy the spaces of influence. We need to be empowered as women financially, So that in itself is calling the women into action. And I think it's asking three fundamental questions. Are women or girls financially secure? Are women represented in decision-making positions? And is the girl child protected and educated? So it's actually now speaking to those three things so that we need now to arise in those three areas: representation, financial empowerment, and protection of the girl child, as well as the women themselves. I'll tell you something, Juliet. I was actually kind of appalled this morning when I read a certain post. I think I saw it on Facebook, and it read something like Unza lecturer has been found guilty of forging a student, that's a female student's breasts. And I was like, what? This thing is still happening. So it shows that the girl child still needs that protection. Even the female employee needs protection. I'll also give another example of what I heard. We're just discussing about how these older men are taking advantage of the young girls, and how the young girls need to be protected. So my friend told me about an incident just near where I work. There's a restaurant, okay? So the previous, the persons who had rented out that restaurant, I think was a foreigner. And the girls there, they went to report that man that he was actually sexually abusing them. So even those who are, they are not so young, but they are young adults, they also need to be protected. So this theme is actually a call for us to arise, to strengthen the legal framework, to strengthen the justice system, so that the women, both young and old, are protected. And those that are fractured, there are these fractures, and I guess we'll talk about them as we evolve in the conversation. We'll talk about these fractures that women suffer, the bruises that even stifle their leadership capabilities. Yeah, so this theme is a call for us to go into implementation. It's not about theory anymore. I think we have talked about it a lot. And you know what, before maybe you even come in, I want to just state this very clearly, that rights, because when we talk about rights, people think they are favoring women. No, a right is not a favor. Juliet, a right is actually is foundation to development. It's actually foundation for national development, not just personal development, but also for national development. And we must also recognize that this country, in terms of population, the population of Zambia, over 50% are women. And then the majority of these women are the ones that are the major players in the informal sector, or what we call the informal economy. They are contributing in one way or another to the growth of the economy, except that they are doing it at a smaller scale. So that should also be a major concern. It should raise major concerns. Why is it that these major players in the informal sector, you know, or in the informal economy, the major players are still financially vulnerable or economically vulnerable? So those are the things that we should be asking, and I think that is what this theme is taking us to.
Great. Now, Madam Maureen, do you think there's a particular reason why most women are not financially empowered? Like earlier you stated, you have few women who are occupying the leadership space.
Yes.
Do you feel there are any reasons why really most women have not gotten to that level?
Okay, so in my study, you know, and pursuit for this leadership journey that I'm into, I've come to discover that there are about 4 leadership pipelines, or 4 factors that influence the leadership pipelines, right? And one of them is, the first one really is education, okay? I know that there's been a rise. I mean, the girl child is doing well and all that, the access to education is there. But then I think I'll speak to it later. Let me just try to list down these factors that influence the leadership pipelines. So I mentioned education. There's also economic participation. And this is the space that I'm talking about, where I'm saying that, yes, the women are playing a major role in the informal sector, but we need them to be economic giants. So, and then the other factor is protection, legal protection. Are they protected? I've already just highlighted some of the examples of what is happening to the girl child. What do you think will happen even as they grow up? They'll grow up traumatized. They will not feel safe. They will not manifest their full potential, because the environment is not so enabling. They are being threatened in an environment where they're supposed to thrive. Then we are also talking about cultural perceptions. Those also do affect. Now, getting back to your question, where you are asking why is it that the women have not arisen. Yes, in terms of education, I think we are doing so well. We are actually, the ladies, and there are a lot of women that are actually acquiring higher qualifications, MBAs, you know, they've gone beyond professional qualifications, degrees, and now they are acquiring MBAs, PhDs, and all that. But when it comes to occupying certain high places, I'm now talking about the woman who is educated. She has access to education, quite all right, but just climbing the corporate ladder becomes a problem because of the biological nature of a woman, that she has to bear children. And here is a company which is thinking of how it will make profits, and it needs constant leadership. And then if they think of, you know, maybe appointing Juliet to be CEO, and then Juliet is young, she's still in her productive years, yes, they may give you a director position, but they might not give you CEO position. Yes, I know that in Zambia we have recorded, we have quite a number of CEOs, but how many companies do we have in Zambia compared to the number of CEOs who are female, the proportion? You realize that there are very few. You understand what I mean? Even in the C-suite, it's about the women representation, it's about 28%. That's not good enough. You know, for that high population that I'm talking about, that more than 50% of the Zambian population, it's made up of the female folk. So what's going on? There's that biasness. I call it the unconscious bias. Yes, on paper we'll talk about equity, you know what I mean? The gender equity, you know, closing that gap and all that. On paper, it will be done. But in reality, it's a struggle because there's still that unconscious bias that people are practicing unconsciously. They would rather go for a male, and then maybe also we need to recognize the fact that there is this patriarchal society that we live in, where it is believed that leadership lies with the men. It's there. Even if we don't want to talk about it, the truth of the matter is that this thing exists. Juliet,
And just there, do you really feel that tradition has also played a role? Because that is how I think most of us have, even when we've come out of it, but we've always believed that, you know, the woman is supposed to take the lower seat, and the man at the head, the man at the top, especially financially.
yes, tradition has played a role, and I think I did mention about cultural perceptions among those factors that influence the leadership pipelines. So you find that, let's say for instance, you know, you want to pursue a certain career path. Society will expect you to bear children, to be a caregiver. Even when a child is sick, Juliet, you realize that the one who has to be on the bedside is the woman while the man is working. So already just that is supporting the view of society, the narrative that society has put out there, that the woman is supposed to be a caregiver. The responsibilities of a home are for a woman, whereas in the marketplace, the higher responsibilities is for the man. Let me give you an example of what happens in rural areas. The women, they work so hard to cultivate and till the land. They work so hard, but when it comes to harvesting and selling, you know, harvesting, and then when it comes to also selling the produce of that field, who is in charge?
The man.
The man. And where does he take the money? He's the one who will be in charge. You understand? But the one who tilled the land, it's the woman. And that's why you find that in certain cultures, a man will marry, you know, more than one wife. What are they looking for? They consider them as factors of production. Are you getting what I'm saying? Well, the man wants to get the money and control. You get what I'm saying? So some of those things, they are real. They pose as blockages, as barriers. They are there. So yeah, at times we want to hide, but truth be told, that's one of the barriers, that's one of the limitations, society and the narrative that society has put out there. And then if you just don't play to the script of society, you know what will happen? The woman is judged harshly. The woman is judged harshly. Others will even ask, why do you have 2 children? No, because I was going to school. Hey, why? No. Maybe this man should get married to another woman, you know, so that he can bear more children. But who said that a woman who works in the corporate world or who is pursuing a career in the marketplace cannot bear more than 2 or 3 children? It's a choice that a couple has to make. So society will judge you harshly as a woman. Then the other thing is access, limited access to financing. I've already mentioned that, you see, the informal sector is largely made up of women. They are the ones who are the major players. If you go to Soweto Market, these are the people that you'll find, even on the streets. The major traders there, it's the women. But then, for them to expand their business, because you just don't want to earn or to make ends meet. You want to go beyond that. But how do you go beyond that if you don't have capital? Now, if I go to the bank as a woman who is coming from maybe Soweto Market, for instance, to go and ask for a loan, yes, I have the right to access finance, quite all right, it's a right. However, accessibility is what we are talking about. Can I be able to access that? The bank will ask for collateral. Do I have collateral? I don't have. Another thing, they'll start asking for the financial statement. Do I even know what a financial statement is? I'm coming from Soweto Market, ma. Or I'm coming from these underserved areas, in the rural area. What do I know about financial statements. I know nothing. Yeah? But I need the money. I know I can make more. I can do more. So that also, and lack of financial literacy, especially those women and girls who are living in underserved areas. We cannot run away from the fact that there are certain areas that are not developed. There are certain areas that are underserved. I was talking about access, right? Juliet, we know one of the basic rights really is access to education. Now, look at the location in the rural areas of the schools. Where are they located? You may find that they are located maybe 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers from where the person is staying. Even you, Juliet, even if you are going to be walking, do you think that it will be accessible? Because I'm talking about access. Here we want to be real. Let's go to the underserved area. If you look at the city, yes, you find schools almost, within proximity. But in rural areas, that is not there. The rural woman, have they been exposed to financial literacy? No, they are not. So then it means that, and the larger population, by the way, is also there. We are not just concentrated in the city. No, even in the rural areas. What about access to clean water? Have you ever thought about it? Where do these women draw water from? And then we are saying access to clean water. Do they have access to that? The right to clean water. But do they have access to clean water? What about the healthcare? Here we are very privileged to be living in the city where these health centers are close by. Our friends, they even just to go to a general hospital, it's located maybe in another district. You understand what I'm talking? There are these district hospitals, yes, quite all right. But for you to access that district hospital where it is from where you are, is actually, challenge. Yeah, so we need to be looking at it. If we are talking about inclusivity, we are saying leaving no one behind. So let's also talk about those in the rural areas.
Now, Madam Maureen,
yes,
yourself, you're a leadership strategist. You're also an entrepreneur. So really, how do you, what practical actions can women take to build financial resilience and independence in today's economy?
Yeah, okay, so one of them is education, okay? Because you know what, education is an empowering tool. So even, I'm not just talking about general education. I'm also talking about financial literacy. That's what I'm talking about. So these women should be exposed to that. I was telling someone, okay, so they want to campaign, they are aspiring candidates. So I was telling them that what you need, all these things that you're talking about, I know, even everybody knows that people should harness the natural resources within their area of locality. Yeah, if it's copper, whatever resources are there, maybe it's arid land, you can use it for agriculture, it's good, and all that. But do you realize that it all begins with the mindset? Awareness. Remember when there was COVID, there was so much sensitization. What happened? Everybody responded. Everybody, it didn't matter whether people came from the villages or wherever. So first of all, start with awareness. Create an awareness of what financial education is. How do you relate with money? How can you engage money? You engage with it in your day-to-day world. How can money be invested, okay, in order for you to grow your asset base and to grow your wealth and also secure your retirement? Because, I mean, that's what financial literacy is. What platforms are there? You need to know. So, first of all, we need to create awareness. We need to take the message out there. I mean, if I can't speak the local language, definitely there's always somebody who speaks the local language and can translate it for me. Let's first of all build this mindset, the wealth creation mindset, because wealth creation begins from the mind. If I don't appreciate and I don't have the conviction of something, do you know that I cannot make the most or leverage that thing? First of all, I need to understand what value it has for me. How do I interact with it? How do I engage with it so that I can make the most of it? And that's what we are talking about. We're just saying basic things that we can do. That's the first thing. But the other thing is we need to, because you graduate, you learn, you engage. If you have heard what I've said, you learn, you understand, and you engage. So the engagement is now where you begin to look for platforms where you can invest. And there are different platforms, right? The easiest platforms that we are now using as women, I am in about 5 village banking groups, and I'm leveraging that. I'm saving. At the same time, it's giving me access to quick finance. Not something that I'll be subjected to, to stringent rules or rules that I cannot even follow, or requirements that I cannot even, manage to meet. No. Belong to cooperatives. If you are in the villages or in other communities, belong to just subscribe to a cooperative. Be part of a cooperative so that you can benefit.
I'll interrupt you a little bit. You're talking about engaging. We're talking about financial literacy. Okay. At really what stage do you engage? I think maybe let's start from the girl child. Do we start when they're still girls, before they grow into the women that they should be? Do you start, at what stage do you start teaching these the women, the ones who become the girls?
The
at
ones
what
who become,
stage
you start
engaging
while
them?
they are young. Remember the formative years. This is now where they are learning, values. And this is when these values are now being inculcated in them. So, there's a saying that bring up a child in the way that he should grow. And when he grows, it's actually a proverb from the Bible. And when the child grows, they will not forget, So you have to start, as long as they have sense enough to be able to understand some of these things. You know what I've started doing with my children? My youngest is 11. So I was asking him, do you know that story of the locust and the ant? Then he said, yes, Mommy, I've watched it. There's a movie, actually. He started telling me stories, and I said, okay, what's the story about? Because I want to teach him financial literacy. I want to start engaging him in that conversation. So then he tells me, oh, the locust, Mommy, they were friends with the ant, and then during summer, the ant would collect, food, and the locust would laugh at the ant that they were working so hard when it was time to play. What happens in summer, you're supposed to go swimming, you're supposed to be playing and all that because the weather is cool. And then now, it so happened, this is my son telling me the story. It so happened, Mommy, that when it got cold, the ant couldn't come out of his house because the weather was actually adverse for him. And the locust wanted food. So the ant couldn't come out. And the locust was hungry. I said, okay, so what's the story? Then he started telling me, it's important for us to store up food. I said, okay, now, can we turn it around to financial literacy?
No.
You start saving using that. The ant was saving, okay, for a rainy day. The rainy day came in the cold season when it couldn't go out. So it was able to feed on that. But it shouldn't end there now. That's what I started telling him. We should also begin to serve in income generating. So when we talk about saving, what we are just saying is that you are serving for the rainy day, for emergency purposes. That's the lesson I was teaching him. But it shouldn't end there. Let me teach you the story of a farmer. You see, there's a saying that farmers hakudya mbuto, meaning that don't eat everything. Yes, you harvest some for consumption, but some should be harvested for you to be able to sell and for you to plant again so that you keep on growing. Compound interest. That's what we are talking about. So I was able to tell him at his level. So can we break down? Can we have a curriculum? We break it down because language is very important. I cannot speak to somebody in a language that they cannot grasp. I want them to comprehend. I want them to be able to relate. So for a child, I was able to use that example. For an adult, we can, you can also use the farmer because that one, the farmer analog, it actually works because everybody can relate with it. Most of us are involved in, even small scale farming or just even digging, what you call digging maybe, the backyard garden. But we understand the concept of a seed. We understand that when you plant a seed, it grows and then it will bear fruit. Then from those fruits, there will be seed. That seed you plant so that you can have a forest. So from one tree, you can actually come up with a forest. That's what investment is all about.
Great. Now, Madam Maureen, really, I'll ask you this question. We are living in a world where we have gender bias. What are you doing yourself? You know, what are you doing to bring various women on board? Yesterday, I was so, I was happy. Actually, I went for a funeral where I saw this woman, so she could do a man's job. You know, there's a belief that there's men's job, there's what a woman can do and what a man can do. But she was there, she could hold the shovel, and I was just happy. She was doing what any other man can do. Actually, she was doing what other men cannot do. So we are living in a world where there's gender bias. What are you doing to really help out in this case? How are you bringing women on board?
Okay, so I hear you. It's a great question, but I offer mentorship and coaching. Yeah, because we need to understand that biologically we are different from the men. Okay, we are feminine, they are masculine. I can't change that. Okay, and there are certain things that I can do as a woman that a man can't do biologically. I need to teach them that. When we talk about equity, I don't like to use the word equality because we'll never be equal. You understand? Because you know, when you say this is equal, it means everything in height, in everything. No. Here we're talking about equity, that I should have access to the same opportunities that you have. That's what we are saying. If a man applied for a job and I applied for a job, I should be given the same chance. There should be no preference. You understand? If it's the same job that we have applied for, it means I qualify, that's why I have applied. So what am I trying to say? I don't want people to get it wrong by saying, no, I'm equal to a man. We are not. The truth be told, we are not. Nobody is equal to anybody. You understand? But when we say equal opportunities, yes. Equal access, yes. But biologically, no. So that must be, the disclaimer must be made clear. Now let's talk about opportunities and let's talk about the rights. Because a right, like I said, is not a favor. And the second thing is that rights, they are for everyone. Rights are no respecter of persons. And they are not partial. Rights are impartial. Every one of us has these rights. The right to education, yes. The right to land, yes. Unfortunately, because of tradition, there are some women that cannot even register property in their own names. You know that? They'll go and buy land. True story. Somebody was actually even telling me yesterday that, you know, Maureen, there's a woman who went to buy land. Okay, for the honor of the husband. Remember the patriarchal system that we are talking about? The woman went to buy land, okay, in the name of the husband. The husband, whatever he did with the land, okay, how he exchanged to give it to the cousin, we don't know whether that really was a cousin or a girlfriend. And then they used it for collateral. The woman lost that. Now, is that fair? That's where we are saying that we should protect ourselves, right? By securing our rights. Because rights are available to everybody, but you need to secure your right. So this is what I share with those that I coach and mentor. I mentor young girls. First of all, like I have mentioned, I tell them you're not a man biologically. You are a woman. So embrace your womanhood and be authentic about it. Yes, you bear children. You have to breastfeed. Those things will happen. But now let's talk about the marketplace, because the marketplace is a different place. I teach them how to negotiate in the marketplace. I teach them how to build competency, because the marketplace is looking for competent people, people who are able to deliver, people who are able to offer solutions. That's what the marketplace is looking for. I actually coach them on how they need to build their personal brands and digital footprint. Because in this world that we are living in, you need to be visible.
Great.
If you are not visible, Juliet, no one will know that you exist. And you know, for a woman, you need to actually to make your visibility double that of a man, even triple, so that you can be noticed, to beat these biases that are there. They need to know that, Juliet exists. When you have when you record an achievement, don't keep quiet about it. Blow a vuvuzela. Let them know. Yes, we have seen. Oh, Ms. Ngamelo, she was awarded with this. Yeah, me, I'm going to be getting an award. I think on the 27th, I'm going to South Africa.
Wow.
I'll blow it.
Wow.
People should know that this is what we are doing. We're being recognized. As a leadership strategist, as a financial empowerment specialist. I'm going to be awarded for that. They should know that, yes, my voice is in the space. It's not quiet.
Great. Now, Madam Maureen, really, remember we're talking about rights,
Yes.
justice, actions. What actions should be taken by government, by organizations, to ensure that women enjoy their rights, their right to be financially literate?
Okay, so let me start with government. You know, government is the policy maker, right? The main policy. I know each organization has got their own policy, but the policy of the government overrides over every other policy. You understand what I mean? It actually supersedes. Yeah. So the policies are there, but what we want is enforcement of these policies. That's how they'll be strengthened. Can these policies be enforced? They are there. 50% representation? All these things are there. They are there, Juliet. But can they be enforced?
Great.
And then also regulation. The government has a responsibility to regulate any other institution as long as they fall under the jurisdiction of this country. They can regulate. They need to go and, you know, they need to supervise some of these institutions to ensure that there's equal pay for equal jobs. If I'm doing the same job, I'm an accountant, and maybe Mr. Piri is an accountant, why should we be getting different salaries? So they should supervise. The Ministry of Labor can actually go and check if these things are really being implemented. Yeah, are we getting the same salary for the same job? And then
Maureen,
also opportunities as well.
Great.
Yeah, so we need all that, you know, the communities also, they need to come together. But employers must also implement the equal pay policy. And also, when it comes to gender parity, what do you call those requirements? And then, what are they calling them? Closing up the gender parity gap. They should work towards that. So we should be able to see it in their plans, in their policies, that they are there.
Thanks. Now, Madam Maureen, we are running out of time. I know you have a whole lot packaged. What message do you have for women across the country as we head towards the commemoration of Women's Day?
Okay, so here's my message to the women. Don't exclude yourself. If they can't create a table for you, create a table for yourself, and we'll come and support you. Make sure that you are competent. Build yourself. Build capacity in yourself. Secondly, be intentional about growing yourself. Growing yourself professionally, financially as well. You need to be very deliberate. You are more than able to do it. You have what it takes.
Great.
Yeah, don't allow the environment around you to sabotage you or to bring you down. You need to believe in yourself. That's why you are here. And overcome. When you overcome, you will do it for another person. You will inspire another woman to overcome. But if we are going to sit back as women, then we will not get there. So one thing I want to tell the women out there is that your finances matter. Your potential matters. And then you can create a seat for yourself, but also don't exclude yourself from the already existing seats. They are waiting for you, but you need to arise. You need to know that you can do it. You need to fight for your rights. Your rights are actually already there, but you need to activate your rights. That's what I'm saying to the women out there. You are capable and you can do it. There are other women that have done it before.
Great.
In the past, we had the Margaret Thatchers of this world. And then, I mean, it has grown. Here in Zambia, we have the Mizingamelus. We have, I think we also have Mukwandi Chwesakunda. They are actually acing it in the marketplace, and they are CEOs. If they can do it, you can also do it.
Madam Maureen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that educative information. We've come to the end of our program. You've heard for yourselves. Fight for your rights. Fight, as I've quoted from Madam Maureen. We need to rise as women and, of course, fight for our rights. After all, I mean, they are our rights.
Yeah.
We've come to the end of the program. Join us next time for another exciting episode. My name is Juliet Mtele saying bye-bye and God bless.